Hi, let me tell you about another great Manning book, Data-Oriented Programming in Java, written by Chris Keel.
This book is about data, what it is, how to model it, and how to represent it in our code. Programs organized around the data they manage tend to be simpler, smaller, and most importantly, easier to understand. We will learn to model data as data. This means data on its own, as a plain value, independent of any operations or behaviors. We lift data up like this so that we can focus on what it means within its domain and to the people using it. If we can capture that meaning in code, we unlock an extremely powerful way of putting our programs together. Data orientation doesn't replace object orientation. The two approaches work together and complement each other. Objects will continue to play a central role in our program design. They remain the best option for managing the stateful side of our applications. The main shift is that we start the design process by focusing on just the data on its own, rather than the usual approach of considering data and its behaviors together as one. Only once we've thoroughly explored the underlying data do we bring objects back into the mix. Good data representation reduces complexity and prevents errors. Data-oriented programming looks at how our choice of data types shapes how we think about the codebase. The individual choices we make ripple outward through the entire system. A good representation leads to simpler code, and less of it. Poor data modeling introduces bugs and illegal states. It forces us to add more code and spend extra effort defending against problems we've created. Clear data leads to clear code. When we nail our representation of data, the rest of the program tends to fall naturally into place. It can even feel like it's writing itself. Clear code is self-describing and self-documenting. It tells us exactly what it is and where we should go next. Data-oriented programming will change the way you write code. When data is at the heart of the modeling process, new patterns for how we put code together begin to emerge organically. We'll favor small methods that take well-modeled data as input and produce well-modeled data as output. Small pieces get combined together to form larger ones. Objects become like little factories. They oversee the intake of raw materials on one side and make sure that finished products come out on the other. The book primarily targets Java 17, which gives us record classes for describing data types. However, the concepts apply to older versions of Java, including JDK 8. The focus is on data, not tools, and we'll explore how to achieve data-oriented programming even with older JDKs. Each chapter features self-contained examples, often based on real-life scenarios. We'll explore correct and incorrect paths to build intuition for good data modeling. The goal is to understand why certain design decisions work or don't work, helping you avoid common pitfalls. That's data-oriented programming in a nutshell. First, we figure out what the data is, then express that in code, and finally let its simplifying effects ripple through the system. This approach will transform the way you write. Code becomes clearer, easier to maintain, and much more understandable.
Get this book at manning.com